Ubiquiti released an exciting feature to support remote access VPN. It's called Teleport. My initial plan was to simply test the network performance for Teleport because you may know Teleport is supposed to be a very easy VPN to use for end user because it's claimed to have zero configuration needed. But during my preparation, I realized there are a lot of interesting things to cover. To avoid a super long video, I plan to have 2 videos. In this one, I'm going to focus on the configuration, the setup, and in my second video, I'm going to focus on the performance testing. I have 4 different UniFi routers. The most recent UDR, UniFi Dream Router, the oldest USG Pro, the relatively new UDM Pro, and the recent UXG Pro. On the screen, I'm showing you the exact same page for VPN setting. As you can see, only for UDR, we have the Teleport VPN setting. But let's see what the official Ubiquiti document tells us. It's support 4 different routers. For UDM Pro, OS version need to be later than this one. But if we go to the UDM Pro OS version, see it's 1.114 and it says up to date. Apparently this official Ubiquiti document is too early. The required version for UDM Pro has not even been released yet. So the situation is, yes, I have 4 different routers, but only the UDR support Teleport. So that's why in the 2 videos, I'm only going to use UDR for the configuration and the testing. Let's look into the setup page for Teleport in UniFi Network Controller. You can see there are 3 different areas in the same page. The second part is for VPN server. It has a interesting wording here. It says traditional remote access. Apparently, in Ubiquiti's opinion, the Teleport is a modern way, and all the others, they are traditional or alternatives already. There's nothing changed here. It only supports L2TP for this UDR. As you can see, you even have no drop down here, and it still doesn't support OpenVPN. The third area, side to side, let's see whether now you can use WireGuard. So let's see the VPN protocol. The same thing, IPsec or OpenVPN, there's no WireGuard there. Remember, for years, people asked for OpenVPN support in the remote access VPN. Till today, it's still not there, even though in the side-to-side VPN connection is already supported long ago. Now, Ubiquiti introduced a new thing called Teleport, and you may know under the hood is based on the WireGuard. Many people want WireGuard. It's supposed to have better performance than the existing ones, but unfortunately for side-to-side VPN, it's not supported yet. Okay, now let's look at the first action, which is Teleport. That's the main focus of this video. Ubiquiti stated again, it says 0 configuration. Is that true? Yes, it's really 0 configuration. You just need 1 click. You enable it or disable it, you are done. On one hand, it's perfect. That's very user-friendly. On the other hand, as you may expect, it causes some troubles. Everything is in the name of user-friendly implementation. We will discuss that. The way Teleport works is, okay, once you enable it, you are done. But for other devices to even be able to access it, you need to send them an invitation. You can click the button. Let me do it now. Wait for several seconds. Okay, it's created a link. As you see, it's linked to the UI website. The prerequisite to make the invitation work or to make Teleport work is you enable the remote access. For UDM Pro, for example, or this UDR, you have options when you do the initial setup. You can use your cloud ID on Ubiquiti website to enable the remote access and then use the credentials to access all of your routers. But you can also choose the local credentials. But to use Teleport, you have no options. You have to enable the remote access. To enable or disable remote access, you need to go to the UniFi console OS setup. Not here. This is the UniFi network controller. The way to go to the console OS is you click this button first, then click the settings. The very first checkbox is for remote access. Let's look at this part. Once you send the invitation, once people receive it, to really use it, you need Wi-Fi Man app. And here you see 3 icons. When I first saw it, I was super excited because I saw the Mac OS here. And then I download the Wi-Fi Man for Mac OS. You know what? The Teleport doesn't work. Let me show you what I mean by using the invitation URL. So let me go back to the invitation section. Let me copy the link I just generated. There are multiple ways to use the invitation URL. You can send the link using email to your mobile device. Then you click the link from your cell phone, right? The other way is you locally copy the link and paste to your web browser. Let me do it now. Okay, I open the link in web browser. See the very last part, coming soon macOS. So it's disappointing, which means in my next video, when I test the performance, I have to use mobile devices. It's time to see it in action. I already copied the link. I will send it to my cell phone in email. This is my cell phone. I already disabled Wi-Fi. Click the link. Okay, it automatically opened Wi-Fi Man and I agree. Then it's trying to connecting, establishing the tunnel. It may take about 10 seconds. Then you are done. On your cell phone, what you need is just to click the link. Super easy to set up. It's showing connected, and you can also see down and up link traffic, which means everything is good. Let me use several diagrams to show you how Teleport VPN can be used in real world. The first slide is the most common use case, which is, okay, you have a UDR in your home network. You are away from your router. Away means, okay, you have your cell phone. You use your cell phone to either connect to the 4G or 5G wireless network, or you connect to other Wi-Fi. Remember, UDR is also a wireless router, right? It has its own Wi-Fi network. But if you connect to UDR's Wi-Fi network, that means you are not away from your home, away from your UDR. Then through internet, you can establish a tunnel, a teleport tunnel, connect to your home network to achieve the remote VPN access. But in my case, I have problem because I have very poor 4G connection. Remember, my next video's focus will be testing the network performance, right? With my poor wireless network connection, I have no way to saturate the capacity of the UDR. You may say, okay, why not use Wi-Fi? That's another problem because I only have one internet provider for my home. It's already used by my home network. Yes, I can use some free public Wi-Fi, but normally you won't get very good throughput using the free public Wi-Fi. I have no way to test the performance in real world scenario. Now let's move on to next diagram. This is the main environment I'm going to use for my next video. Okay, I have my normal home network. Behind my existing router or firewall, which is pfSense, I have this UDR. So the UDR is in my lab environment connected to my home network. You can see in my next video, yes, you are able to establish the Teleport VPN connection. Thanks to the way the connection is established, you don't need to reserve any port in either pfSense or UDR. It's zero configuration and it's just work out of box. But this environment leads to my another problem with Teleport VPN. If you are familiar with other VPN setup, normally you need to set up the IP address for the tunnel or for the VPN subnet, but you see nothing for Teleport. That's the problem. I'm back to the network controller. Under clients, you can see this client, which is my iPhone. You can tell from the connection it says Teleport. The problem is about the IP address. See, is that familiar? It's commonly used private network subnet. In my case, it's even worse, because the LAN for my home network is the 192.168.2 subnet. And this particular .2.1 IP address is for my pfSense, my main router, the most important network device in my home network. Just to establish the Teleport VPN, my cell phone get the same IP address as my main router. You can understand how confused my network will be. Let me go back to the diagram. So see here in the diagram, I have several places marked with question marks, right? So this is my iPhone. After the Teleport VPN established, it get a .2 subnet IP address. And my pfSense, my home network NAS, have the .2 subnet IP address as well. And for my UDR, in my home lab, the one IP address is also .2 subnet. I just show you after I connect the iPhone using Teleport VPN, the VPN was established and the connection looks good. The reason it worked was I already modified my pfSense IP address from .2.1 to something else which won't conflict with the default .2.1. So without the modification, the symptom I got was, okay, the VPN can be connected, but I won't get any network traffic. My cell phone simply didn't report any error, but the VPN just didn't work. According to UniFi's help, it seems in the future there might be fix. I guess Ubiquiti will provide you some way. Somehow you can change the default subnet for the Teleport VPN. But I'm so curious how Ubiquiti can do that under the name of zero configuration. But for now, I'm good, because just by modifying the pfSense box, the VPN simply just works. Even though the subnet is the same as my home network, I can still proceed if I don't have IP address conflicts. In my next video, I'm also going to use this environment to test the performance. This is even crazier than previous one. Remember I mentioned I have no good environment to saturate the VPN capacity, right? To really test the throughput, I need to have a super fast network connection. So the way I will do is I have a very fast home network. From my home network, I have a UniFi access point, and I'm going to use my cell phone to connect to my home network's Wi-Fi. My home network's Wi-Fi is not the same as UDR's Wi-Fi. So to the UDR, it is outside of UDR's network. It is away. As long as I establish the Teleport VPN connection to the UDR, I am outside of the home. I am from the internet, but at the same time, I'm using my home network's fast network connection. Before ending the video, let me summarize the 3 different ways I just mentioned. So the first way, that's the normal way people use to establish VPN, right? The UDR is your main home router, and then from internet, you establish the Teleport VPN. The second way, I do see potential real-world usage for it. For example, you already have a established home network, but for some reason you don't have VPN enabled. Now you have a UDR. You don't want it to replace your original router, but you do want to use the very easy, very convenient Teleport VPN. How you can do that? In this way. So basically you put the UDR behind your main firewall. You are still able to establish VPN to UDR from outside, from internet. Let's take the NAS as example. Even though the UDR is behind the firewall. Basically, the NAS is in the WAN part for the UDR, right? But it doesn't matter. As long as you make the firewall rules work for the UDR so that your iPhone, when it teleport to the UDR, it can access the WAN network, then all of a sudden your iPhone can access any devices in your original home network. It can not only access the UDR's LAN, but also UDR's WAN, which is your home network. So when it comes to the third way, that's just my workaround to achieve my performance testing. I don't see why in real world you want to do this. Okay, thanks for watching.